Article 12, meaning of state in Fundamental Rights India. State means government bodies that enforce fundamental rights for every citizen. It includes government departments that run public services like education and health. Local authorities like municipalities manage public sector undertakings, and government-owned companies serving public interests. Learn more about your rights by following our channel.
Article 13. Protecting your fundamental rights in India. Article 13 declares any law violating fundamental rights as invalid and unenforceable. It safeguards citizens by ensuring unconstitutional laws have no legal effect. For example, a law restricting freedom of speech can be struck down under Article 13. This article is crucial for upholding democracy and protecting individual freedoms. Remember, Article 13 ensures your fundamental rights are always protected. Article 14. Right to equality explained India. Equality before law. No one is above the law in India. Equal protection of laws. The law protects everyone equally. Applies to all persons. Citizens and non-citizens are covered. No arbitrary discrimination. The state cannot act unfairly or unreasonably. Remember, Article 14 ensures your fundamental rights are always protected.
Article 15. Prohibition of discrimination in India. Article 15 of the Indian Constitution prohibits discrimination on various grounds. Discrimination is banned based on religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. For example, no one can be denied public services due to their caste or religion. This article ensures equal treatment and protects citizens from unfair exclusion. Learn
Article
more about
16
your right.
explained. Equality of opportunity in public employment India. Article 16 explained. Equality of opportunity in public employment India. Article 16 guarantees equality of opportunity in public employment under the state. No citizen can be discriminated against on grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, descent, place of birth, or residence. However, the state can provide reservation for backward classes if they are inadequately represented.
Article 16A explained, reservation in promotion for SC, ST India. Is reservation allowed in promotion? Yes, Article 16A explains India. Article 16A allows the state to provide reservation in promotion for SC, ST employees in public services. This is allowed when SC, ST are not adequately represented in services. The state must also ensure efficiency of administration is maintained. Article 16A promotes social justice and representation. Follow for more. Constitution explained simply India.
Article 17. Abolition of untouchability in India. Article 17 abolishes untouchability, making its practice illegal and punishable by law. This article promotes equality by ensuring no one faces discrimination based on birth or caste. Untouchability's abolition helps build a society where dignity and respect are universal rights. It impacts daily life by encouraging inclusion in schools, workplaces, and public spaces. Upholding this article strengthens human rights and fosters social harmony across communities. Support equality and dignity for all by understanding Article 17's vital role.
Article 18. Abolition of titles in the Indian Constitution. Article 18 abolishes titles to promote equality and prevent social distinctions in India. It prohibits the state from granting any titles except military and academic honors. This article stops citizens from accepting foreign titles without government permission. By abolishing titles, Article 18 supports a society free from inherited privileges and discrimination.
Article 19 explained, freedom rights in India. Freedom of speech lets you express your thoughts openly without fear or restriction. Freedom to assemble means you can gather peacefully for protests or meetings. Freedom to form associations allows you to join or create groups for common interests. Freedom to move freely means you can travel anywhere within India without restrictions. Freedom to reside and settle anywhere in India gives you the right to live where you choose. Remember these rights and share to empower others with knowledge.
Article 20, Protection in Criminal Cases India. No ex post facto law. A person cannot be punished for an act that was not a crime when committed. No double jeopardy. No person can be punished twice for the same offense. No self-incrimination. No person can be forced to testify against themselves. Learn more about your rights under the Indian Constitution today.
Article 21 explained, right to life and personal liberty India. What is the most important fundamental right? Article 21 India. Article 21 guarantees the right to life and personal liberty. No person can be deprived of life or liberty except according to procedure established by law. Over time, courts expanded Article 21 to include checkmark right to live with dignity, checkmark right to privacy, Article 21 checkmark protects right to health and education and freedom, checkmark right to clean environment. Explained simply India.
Article 21A explained, right to education India. Education is not charity, it's a right India. Article 21A explains. Article 21A makes education a fundamental right. It guarantees free and compulsory education to all children aged 6 to 14 years. The state is responsible for ensuring checkmark access to schools, checkmark quality basic education, checkmark no discrimination in learning. Article 21A empowers children and builds the nation. Follow for Constitution explained simply India.
Article 22. Protection against arrest and detention India. Right to know grounds of arrest. Arrested person must be informed of the reason. Right to a lawyer. Right to consult and be defended by a legal practitioner. Produced before magistrate. Must be produced within 24 hours of arrest. No illegal detention. Detention beyond 24 hours requires magistrate approval. Preventive detention exception. Special laws allow preventive detention under conditions. Know your rights before the law India. Follow and subscribe to learn every article easily.
Article 24, Prohibition of Child Labour India. Child labour banned. Children below 14 years cannot work in hazardous jobs. Protection of children. Ensures safety, health, and education of children. Hazardous employment prohibited. Factories, mines, and dangerous work are banned. Applies to all children. Protection is for every child, without discrimination. Punishable by law. Violating Article 24 is a legal offence. Children belong in schools, not workplaces. India.
Article 25, Freedom of Religion. Every individual has the right to freedom of conscience, meaning they can follow their own beliefs and moral principles. Everyone is free to profess, practice, and propagate their religion without interference. Article 25 guarantees this freedom to all citizens of India, ensuring equal religious rights. The right is not absolute, it is subject to laws ensuring public safety, morality, and health. The state can regulate religious practices to maintain social welfare, reform harmful practices, and prevent exploitation. Article 25 empowers every citizen to follow their faith freely while respecting the law and public welfare.
Article 26. Freedom to manage religious affairs. Every religious denomination has the right to establish and maintain institutions for religious purposes. They can manage their places of worship, conduct rituals, and appoint leaders according to their beliefs. Religious groups can own and acquire property for the benefit of their religion. The state can regulate these rights in the interest of public welfare, but cannot interfere unnecessarily. Ensures equality by allowing all recognized religions to manage their affairs without discrimination. Article 26 strengthens India's secular framework by letting every religion flourish while respecting public welfare and harmony. Article 27. No compulsory tax for religion. No person shall be forced to pay taxes specifically for the promotion or maintenance of any religion. Citizens cannot be compelled to support a religion they do not follow. Public funds collected by the state must be used for general welfare, not for religious purposes. The right is universal, applies equally to all religious communities. This article reinforces India's secular nature, separating religion from state finances. Article 27 safeguards freedom of religion by ensuring that no one's money is used to support a religion against their will. True secularism begins here.
Article 28. Freedom from compulsory religious instruction. Students in state-funded schools cannot be forced to attend religious instruction or worship. Religious instruction may be provided in educational institutions managed by minorities based on religion, but attendance is optional. Students have the right to opt out of religious activities without any penalty. The rule applies to government and aided schools, ensuring neutrality in education. Article 28 reinforces India's secular principles in education by separating religion from the school curriculum. Article 28 guarantees that education in India remains neutral, inclusive, and free from compulsory religious influence. Every student has the right to learn without pressure.
Article 29, Rights of Minorities. Minorities have the right to conserve their language, script, and culture. They can set up and administer educational institutions of their choice. Rights apply to all citizens belonging to minority groups, regardless of religion or language. Minorities cannot be discriminated against in admissions to educational institutions managed by them. Supports India's cultural and linguistic diversity by empowering minority communities. Article 29 guarantees that minority communities can preserve their heritage, culture, and education while contributing to India's diversity.
Article 30, Rights of Minorities to Establish Institutions. India. Religious and linguistic minorities have the right to establish educational institutions of their choice. Minorities can manage and administer these institutions without unnecessary interference. The state cannot discriminate against minority institutions while granting aid or recognition. Government can regulate for education standards, but cannot destroy minority character. This article helps minorities preserve their language, culture, and identity through education. Article 30 protects minority education, ensuring freedom, equality, and preservation of cultural identity in India's democracy.
Article 31 explained, right to property, history, India. Did you know the right to property was once a fundamental right? Article 31 India. Article 31 originally guaranteed the right to property as a fundamental right. It protected citizens from arbitrary property acquisition by the state and required compensation. Later, the 44th Constitutional Amendment, 1978 removed it from fundamental rights. Today, the right to property is a legal right under Article 300A. Article 31 shows how the Constitution evolves with time. Follow for Constitution explains simply India.
Article 31A explained, protection of land reforms India. Can the government take land for reforms? Article 31A explains India. Article 31A protects laws related to land reforms from being challenged as violating fundamental rights. It applies to laws dealing with acquisition of estates, abolition of zamindari, redistribution of land. Even if such laws affect Articles 14 or 19, they remain constitutionally valid. Article 31A supports social justice and agrarian reform. Follow for Constitution explained simply India.
Article 31B explained, 9th Schedule and land reforms India. What is the 9th Schedule and why is it important? Article 31B explains India. Article 31B protects certain laws from being challenged in courts as violating fundamental rights. These laws are listed in the 9th Schedule. Mainly includes land reform and agrarian laws. Ensures social and economic reforms are not struck down. This was crucial to implement land redistribution without legal hurdles. Article 31B ensures social justice prevails over old property rights. Follow for Constitution explains simply India.
Article 31C explained, DPSP vs Fundamental Rights India. Can directive principles override fundamental rights? Article 31C explains India. Article 31C protects laws implementing directive principles of state policy, DPSP, from being challenged as violating certain fundamental rights. Initially, it protected laws from violating Articles 14 and 19, introduced by the 25th Amendment, 1971, later clarified by Supreme Court. Only laws implementing Article 39(b) and 39(c) are fully protected. This balances social justice with constitutional rights. Article 31C ensures DPSPs are effectively implemented while maintaining judicial oversight. Follow for Constitution explained simply India.
Article 32 explained, right to constitutional remedies India. Which fundamental right is called the heart of the Constitution? Article 32 India. Article 32 guarantees the right to constitutional remedies. Every citizen can move the Supreme Court if their fundamental rights are violated. Courts can issue writs like habeas corpus, mandamus, prohibition, certiorari, quo warranto. This ensures protection of fundamental rights and acts as a safeguard against state abuse. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar called Article 32 the heart and soul of the Constitution. Follow for Constitution explained simply India.
Article 32A explained, repealed right to constitutional remedies India. Did you know Article 32A was part of the Constitution but repealed? Here's why India. Article 32A was added by the 42nd Amendment, 1976. It restricted the Supreme Court from hearing cases related to certain laws made under directive principles of state policy, DPSP. This meant citizens couldn't directly challenge these laws in the Supreme Court. Later, the 44th Amendment, 1978 repealed Article 32A, restoring full access to the Supreme Court. Though repealed, Article 32A reminds us how the Constitution evolves with time. Follow for Constitution explained simply India.
Article 33, Fundamental Rights and Armed Forces. Article 33 gives Parliament the power to restrict or modify fundamental rights of armed forces. Covers Army, Navy, Air Force, Police, and Intelligence Services. Restrictions are allowed to maintain discipline, duty, and national security. Fundamental rights are limited, not abolished, for security reasons. Only Parliament, not state governments, can decide these restrictions. Article 33 balances individual rights with national security, honoring the discipline of those who protect.
Article 34, Fundamental Rights during martial law Article 34 comes into effect only when martial law is imposed. Parliament can indemnify actions taken by authorities during martial law. Government officials are protected from legal action for acts done in good faith. Some fundamental rights may be restricted, but not permanently removed. Applies only to the area under martial law, not the entire country. Article 34 ensures order during extreme situations while maintaining constitutional balance and accountability.
Article 35, Parliament and Fundamental Rights. Only Parliament has the authority to make laws for implementing certain fundamental rights. Ensures that laws related to fundamental rights are uniform throughout the country. Applies mainly to Articles 16, 32, 33, and 34, among others. Allows Parliament to create laws that balance individual rights with national needs. Prevents states from making conflicting laws on fundamental rights. Article 35 completes the Fundamental Rights chapter by ensuring strong and uniform laws to protect citizens' freedoms across India.